Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rising Father podcast. I'm Chris Rodack.
And I'm Sara Rodack.
Today, we're just talking about dating. So, why it's important, why we started dating, why we should continue to date as adults, and why, as parents, you need to keep on dating. So, why is it important?
Well, I love date nights for sure, but I think it's super important because it keeps your connection alive. And I always think, like, at the end of the day, when your kids are all grown, we started the two of us, we end with the two of us. So it's like really important to keep that connection there and that you still know each other so that when they leave, you're not like strangers.
Some people say they don't have time to date, and it's also kind of true.
Yeah.
Because when we were younger, we didn't have a lot of time to date. But what did we do when we were, because we've been married how long now? 13 years.
13
Look at
years.
that.
Golden years.
13, okay. That's uncomfortable.
I was kidding.
13 years. And whenever we were married, how long before we had Nathan? 4?
Like 3 years or so. Like
Okay.
not long
Okay.
at all. I think it might have been 2.
Okay.
I don't know.
And when we first had Nathan, he's 9 years old now. But like, he was nuts. He was crazy. He was fun. Took up a lot of time. But did we still go on dates?
We did. And it wasn't always easy to do that. But what's nice is like, since he was our first, everyone always wanted to watch him. So
Yeah.
we took advantage of that for sure. But we definitely made it a priority to go on dates.
Yeah, you got to let people watch your kid. Because there's some people who are like helicopter parents, and they like, people are reaching out to them to help them and saying, can I watch your kid? And they're like, no, the routine has to be this. It has to be mommy. It has to be daddy watching them. And if it's not me, the kid's going to freak out. It's like, well, guess what happens if you do that? The kid will freak out.
Yeah. And also, I think like for that too, it's okay for your kid to be off schedule for one day. It's not going to like ruin them for life. Let them have, that fun time with grandma and grandpa where they maybe eat different foods or they go to bed late. Like your kids will eventually have those as like really great memories of spending time with other people while you went and did something because it's like different and special.
And the more structure you give your kid, the more structure he's going to need.
Yeah.
Because if your kid relies on a 100-step plan for his day,
Oh my God. Yeah.
what's going to happen when he doesn't have that 100-step plan for the day?
Total
Like,
meltdown.
Whose kid is more flexible and adaptable and powerful? The one who needs a 100-step plan or the one who needs nothing that can just go into the day and survive? I'm not saying you shouldn't have structure, but some people overdo it a little bit.
I think a lot of people overdo it. That's like how society's kind of making it. Like,
What do you mean?
pressure of like, this is how you're supposed to parent, in a way. And then if you like are a little more lax, it's like, oh my gosh.
It's like what we're saying right now.
Exactly.
Bad parenting versus good parenting.
Yeah, exactly. The
We're
podcast
guilty.
changes. Yeah. No, it's so true though. There's so many people that like spoon feed their kid everything. We're to the point where they're like sabotaging their own marriage and their relationship because, they put like, obviously your kids are important, but like they put just their kids first all the time instead of making their marriage a priority with like date nights and being able to step away and not talk about the kids the whole date.
Yeah. And we took a quick detour into parenting.
We did. Detour back.
Yeah. But we were talking about being able to leave your kids for dates and how some people won't let other people watch their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you think about it right now, like people might not be asking to watch your kids because you said so many times.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you just need to reach back out to them. Be like, can you watch my kids, please? I'll do a favor for you. Or even pay them.
Yeah.
Like your child will survive unless they have some severe medical issue. But most kids are not like that.
Mm-mm.
Most kids just need fed, diaper changed, and they'll be okay without you.
For sure.
If it's like your first kid, you freak out. And like, because even for us, so we were always pretty flexible from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like we did a lot when Nathan was a baby. But like we've watched other parents' babies, and they always come with like 10 diaper bags and notebooks and briefcases and all kind of shit. And it's just like, just let the kid eat and poop,
It was all good.
and
We got this.
they'll be fine.
Yeah. Not saying like we definitely when we leave our kids, like, feel bad a little bit. You know, you miss them if it's for a longer period of time. Like, I think when we had Nathan, it was easy in a way to leave and go to dates because it would only be like for dinner or like for the day or whatever, and we'd always be back. That first like sleepover one was as like I was like, oh my gosh.
Where is that?
I think we did I don't remember the first sleepover. I don't even know if we did it, but when
the Pittsburgh hotel for like Valentine's Day or something.
No, I think it was when we went to Jamaica. We kind of like really.
How old was he then? 6 months.
Yeah, we went to Jamaica for a week. My parents watched him.
Yeah.
And we booked it before we had him, which I'm super glad we did because I don't know if we would have like gone because we would have felt like really guilty. But at the end of the day, he was completely fine. My parents were over the moon that they got to have their 6-month-old grandson for a whole week. And he like went on more adventures than I did like my whole childhood in 1 week as a 6-month-old. But it was important for us to have that time, especially after becoming first-time parents, and then to leave and go to an all-inclusive resort. Like, that's pretty bomb. Like, when I look back at it, I'm like, wow, I can't believe we did that, but I'm so glad we did because it just, you know, being first-time parents or parents in general, but like after your first one, like you just don't know what to expect. And those first 6 months, they're not easy. So it was really nice to just be like yourself again a little bit and not have that responsibility for a little bit of time.
Yeah, we went from like waking up 8 times a night, smell of poop everywhere, cleaning up throw up, him peeing on me, to going to a Sandals like 5-star resort for a week.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, and I think like it got harder to go on dates once we had Lauren because our kids were so close in age, and it was like amazing chaos at our house. I mean, it was fun. We had a great time when our kids were little. I mean, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was some crazy times, but like it was never bad. You know, it was just insane. And whenever I look back at that, we still made sure we went on dates, and it was definitely harder when you have 2. We are really lucky that our family was able to help us, but there were lots of patches where family's not available and you kind of have to outsource a babysitter, and sometimes that's not in the budget, but we always made sure that we, you know, are not necessarily okay. Every month we go on one dinner date. Like we never did that. We would just, when we kind of knew we needed a date, I feel like we can sense it. We do that now. We're like, we need to go on a date.
We're good about it now, but like we weren't good about going on dates before.
Yeah, but the one thing we were always really good at is taking like little weekend trips.
Yeah. Like we were, like now I feel like we've gone on like a weekly date for 4 months or so.
Yeah, but I think it's easier since our kids are older because now we have
but even before we weren't thinking about it.
You're right.
Like our kids were older 5 months ago, but 5 months ago we weren't going on a weekly date.
That's true. I think we just recognized it more and the importance of it. I mean, and you're super fun to hang out with, so
of course.
I like want that. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. I think like parenting wise, it can be really hard when your kids are little because like how you started out saying like the routines and all of those things. Sometimes you're like, it's just easier if I stay home. I mean, we've all said that like a million times.
Yeah.
But as they get older, it's more like our kids like get pumped when there's a babysitter that's like a teenager, and they're like, "Can we stay up past 8:30?" And you're like, "You can stay up till 9." And they're like, "Oh my god!" So it's like such a treat for them. So now they like ask us, "When are we having a babysitter?" Which is great.
Yeah, but like even though that's happening now, it wouldn't be happening if we didn't say we need to go on a date.
100%.
Because you still have to be intentional about it. Because we had the opportunity when Nathan was 7. He's 9 now. When he was 7, we could have been doing the same thing. And we still went on dates, but we weren't like, okay. Like it's written down on the whiteboard. It says a date a night right now. Or not a date a week right now. Yeah.
Ooh, a date a night. Yeah. All right.
A date a week.
Yeah.
But before we weren't doing that. So like you still have to say it's in the plan.
Yeah.
Or else it doesn't happen. But when the kids were younger, we still went on trips, and we went on like the vacation. We took weekends away and had our parents watch or friends watch or paid someone to watch. We still did dates. Not every single week like we do now, but we definitely made it a priority to continue doing that. Not as much as we do now, but we still made it a priority to have dates. And we found a way to do it. We know couples who have kids and either don't want to go on dates because they don't trust anyone with their kids, or they're just not willing to figure out how to make it work. Like there's like a threshold of, okay, I'm going to try this much to make my date work. And if it causes me to go past that threshold, then I'm just going to give up. I feel like we were like, no, we need to go on a date. So we're going to, if option 1 doesn't work out, we're going to go to option 2, option 3, option 4. We're going to keep on looking for a way to make the date work out. Whereas other people just go to option 1, doesn't work out. Okay, we got to stay in.
Yeah. And like dates can be pretty chill. I think thinking of this whole topic, I actually just thought of one of my favorite dates ever. And it is so lame that's why it's so funny. So first off, our daughter was born in November years ago. And she like never slept ever. And she woke up all the time. And we were so exhausted. And this lasted for months. Nothing was wrong. She just didn't sleep well. So anyways, fast forward. One of my friends like just loved babies. And Nathan was such a fun toddler. And she was like, you know what, Sarah, you and Chris should go out for a Valentine's Day date. Because Valentine's Day was on a weekend. And she lives in a town next to us that has tons of restaurants and stuff. She's like, drop them off at my house. Go somewhere to eat. Go do one fun thing. And then come back and pick them up. And I was like, oh my God. Like, are you sure? And she's like, I'd love baby snuggles. So I'm like, okay. So we drop them off. We're dressed really nice. We go to like a lunch or I think it was lunchtime. We decided to go in the day. And afterwards, you're like, what do we want to go do? And we like didn't really want to go to the movies. And we were trying to think of something fun to do. And I said, well, I really need a coffee because like I'm tired because we were always tired. And we stopped at a Starbucks that was like in a hotel lobby that was nearby. That was the closest Starbucks. So we sat on the couch to drink our coffee. And I noticed, I have a picture of it too. It's so funny. We just sat on this hotel couch that was so comfortable, drinking our coffee in silence. And we didn't even talk for like 20 minutes. Dozed off a little bit on the couch. And it was like my favorite date because that's like just what we needed at the time.
I remember that now. Yeah, no. That was when Lauren was a baby, right?
Oh, yeah. She was only a few months old. That was a rough time.
So Lauren was the kind of baby, I don't know if you have one like this, where like you had to hold her like this. Like I had
straight out.
Yeah, I wasn't able to like hold her against my chest. I had to like hold her at arm's length away from. It was stupid. And then my friends would come over and we'd like pass her around, and everyone had to hold her like this. And then she was crazy as a baby. She's like the most amazing child in the world right now.
Such a sweet thing.
Such a sweet thing.
Such a sweet little thing.
But I remember that night. Yeah, I remember going to the hotel and just being like sitting in silence. And it was just like clean around us. And there was like not shit everywhere.
Like baby toys.
And there was like adults having conversations and having drinks, wearing nice.
You were like dressed nice.
Wearing nice clothing. I was like, oh man, this is so nice. Just like sitting there and it being amazing.
I know. That was my favorite. But the point of that is kind of like, it doesn't have to be an elaborate date because all we paid for was the coffee.
No, we just
sat
walked
on the
into
couch.
the hotel, acted like we were staying there. Reminds me of the time we went to the casino in Pittsburgh, and they had this like VIP lounge area. You don't want me to say.
I'm embarrassed.
They had this like VIP lounge area.
This is before we had kids.
And all these like, I don't know, high rollers were having a fancy little party in the VIP area, and they were done. It's kind of embarrassing. But there was like...
We were like 20 something.
No.
Yeah, it was your sister's 21st birthday. We had a lot to drink.
So, yeah, we were all drunk. Like 10 of us. And there was food left over on the plates. There's like the serving plates. It wasn't like eating food.
Like the buffet.
It was like there was half the buffet food. Like they came in there and then they just left all the food. And like all 10, however many of us, just went up, sat down in their VIP area and just started eating the food.
And it wasn't like they ate the food. It was in the buffet thing with the tongs still. We're not that gross.
We weren't eating half-eaten food, but a lot of the buffet food was left over. So we just sat down and we started ordering drinks up there, and like the wait staff thought we were like it was our VIP party.
Oh my god!
And we just hung out up there.
Yeah, that was hilarious though.
Cheap, simple, but fun.
Don't do that. That's probably like not good to do, but it was really fun at that time.
Yeah.
But, I forgot about that. That was crazy. We've done lots of simple little dates and lots of like elaborate ones too. Our 10-year anniversary, we went away to this amazing luxury cabin in the Cherokee Mountains, and we left the kids for a whole week, and it was like, that was a teeny bit stressful because we had to transfer them from one family to the next, like without us being there. So like our best friends watched them for the first half, and our kids had like the best time ever. And then my parents picked them up, and then my parents watched them for the second half. So, we're really fortunate that we had lots of people that were willing to help us, but that was like that was our longest, I think, ever time away of a date from our kids. But 10-year anniversary is a big deal. So I'm glad we did that. And that was like, honestly, one of my favorite vacations of my whole life.
Yeah, it was magical. It was an amazing place. Never been there. It was Nantahala Forest, I think it was called.
Yeah.
But also if you're nice to people and have friends and have a big network, you can do more things. Like I know lots of people who, not lots of people, but I know some people who have kids and are like, yeah, we don't do anything. We don't have any friends. We just sit in our house. We don't have time for that. It's like, that's great, but then you just told everyone that you don't have time for people to help you watch your kids.
Yeah, and you can help people too. Yeah,
it's like, what if you talked to more people, hung out with more people, made more connections and friends, and then multiplied yourself and were able to actually leverage each other. Like we watch people's kids, they watch our kids. It's an exchange. Like the more people you're friends with, the bigger your network is, the more stuff you can do. So it's something to brag about. But like we have a big network, so like we're able to go between families. It was amazing. Yeah, just have fun with people, love people, help them. They help you. That's just like how the world works. And doesn't have like Sarah was saying, you don't have to have an elaborate date. Like sometimes just going for a walk by yourself is really nice. Like I remember by yourself, meaning two people, like you and me just walking around the lake. I was just thinking that. For like an hour is really, really nice while the kids are being watched by someone. Or if they're like at camp, or if the kids are really young, just have grandma and grandpa come over if they're around to watch them. Or even if they're asleep, if your kid's sleeping, pack them up, put them in a stroller, put the blanket over so they don't know they're away. And you just go on a walk while the kid's quiet. Sometimes just that is really, really nice. And like just, even we're talking about like dates. I get what everyone's thinking, like date is like you go spend money, you go somewhere out of your house. But even like on an even easier note, which you don't want this to be the only thing you do together, but like whenever our kids were super little and like, like you were saying, like walking around the lake is a free date. Like there's tons of free things that you can do. But like when our kids were super little and it was hard to go out and hard to find people, like them going to bed was like our time to spend together. And I think a lot of times you can utilize that as technically a date night, meaning that you maybe don't leave your house. It's a date night in and your kids are technically still there, but phones are off. You like plan maybe something, like we've done this before where we've made like a good dinner, like after the kids have gone to bed. I specifically remember once having dinner and having candles on the table. We put our kids to bed. We like had a late dinner. You made that really good chicken with like the mushroom sauce on it. And like we like planned it, had a fancy dinner, and then like watched a movie on the couch. But like the goal of it was that it was just the two of us. We're not going to be on our phones. We're not going to be distracted with having to do the dishes, any of that kind of stuff. And like really prioritize that time. And like, I think a lot of couples don't do that either because it's like, oh, I'm at home. I can't relax when I'm at home, which I get that part too. But like, if you say like, this is the intention of what we're doing tonight, that can count as a date. Mm-hmm. As long as you're allowed. Mm-hmm. Gotta get those kids away. Ugh. Yeah, gotta get those kids away. And also how, you'll go out for dinner and you like bring your baby or whatever. Like we did that many times, but that doesn't count as a date. Like you have to have that time where you're not preoccupied mind-wise and you need to be connecting just the two of you. Yeah, because it's important to just like each other. Mm-hmm. Like love each other. You're going to do that. You might do that. Some couples don't love each other, but it's important to actually like the personality in the other person, like you used to. like if you met in college, like you did in college. Because you can be so obsessed with your current reality in poopy diapers and waking up and being hungry and everyone being sick and just the chaos and tornado of shit that is like having toddlers and babies.
Yeah.
That, you start to let yourself go and the other person does and everyone's upset and miserable and it just like, man, for like 5 years go by and you're just a different person. And then you look back at the person across from you and you're like, man, that's not the person I met. Like that can happen.
Well, you hear lots of people say like, we just grew apart. We never had a falling out, but we grew apart. And like that's lack of paying attention. That's what happens with everything. That's like letting your body go. Same thing. We just grew apart. That's like, I just put on 50 pounds over the last 5 years. We just grew apart. It's because you weren't intentional about it. Correct.
Same thing, parents, when I talk to dads and they're like, well, my kid's 18 now. We can't really connect. It kind of just happened. It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
It's over the last 18 years, you didn't make an intentional priority to every single day say, I'm going to do these things to connect with my son. I'm going to make memorable moments every single day and be intentional and present every single day. You have to do that with every part of your life.
Yes.
You have to do it with your wife. Or time slips by and say, oops, we grew apart.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Act like it's this big nonchalant thing. Like, it's sad that we grew apart, but here we are. Like, no, like you said, you make it so intentional. You date your spouse. Just have connection still. I think like saying that you still like them is just so important because a lot of people will say like, I love my spouse so much, I just don't like them anymore. I've heard people say that. And it's really sad because there's something about them that you really liked. Like, you don't just love someone automatically that you date. You like them first, and then you're fall in love with them. That's just like how it works. And you have to remember, like, why did I like them in the first place? And, you can always go back and be intentional and grow into that again. But you just have to focus on that and make it a priority. Yeah,
because, if you see yourself as like long-term married and not getting divorced, then at some point you're going to be with your spouse and no kids are going to be there. And like maybe the most important part of going on dates and being intentional about this is that your kids are going to be gone someday. And unless you plan on being divorced, like you're going to be spending a majority of your time together without kids.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why fathers, you have to be so damn intentional about the time you have with your kids. Because like it's going to be gone. Say you have 2 kids and you have 20 years of your marriage is with kids and you're married for 50 years. And 30 of those years are going to be just you two without kids. So you have to, just you two and Rusty.
That's our dog.
Yeah. So you have to actually like the person and you have to work on this so that like when your kids leave you, they go to college or wherever they move out, you're not like, uh-oh, we need to start now. Mm-hmm. Like you just keep on rolling. You're like, oh, I can't wait. My kid graduates next month, but man, the month after that, me and my wife are going on this trip, or we've been building this project together. We're business partners, and we just kind of keep on rolling with what we're doing, or we've got these giant plans. Like it's just like, yeah, that's happening. We'll pat Nathan on the head, say goodbye, but then we're moving on. I'm kidding. But
he's living in our basement.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, but you have to actually like the person because that time is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So let's recap as to like why you should date your spouse. Wrote them down. Time together away from kids is extremely important. You have to enjoy each other. You have to like each other. You need to rekindle your romance. You need to keep the romance going. You can't just think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
Like everything. You need that time to connect. And you can't have that time to connect when you're in the middle of changing diapers and, there's a dog in your bed and all that kind of stuff. You have to actually like each other. Super important because when times get rough, you have to be able to, you have to like the other person you're looking mm-hmm. at and that you want to rely on. And it's a lot harder like in the middle of the night when stuff is crazy to ask for someone's help and to work together with someone you don't really like.
Yeah.
And then lastly, kids are going to be gone someday. You need to realize that, and the time you're in right now as a parent won't last forever, and it's going to be just you two. You're going to hit that spot, and just like you plan for your finances, you plan for everything, you got to plan for that too.
Yeah, it's really important to not only love your spouse, but like them too. And remember, guys, dates can be simple, but you have to prioritize them, because it really comes back to bite you in the butt if you didn't.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Please subscribe to this channel. Please like it. Please comment. Please share it. And we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.